invite Jit and Kutir to class.
Yeah, thanks, Rajot. Since he moved to Kolkata, his name has changed from Rajat to Rajot. So thanks, Rajot, for that introduction, and welcome to all of you. I hope you had a good lunch. I did. I mean, Kolkata ri chele. So of course, it's always great to come back to Kolkata. I'll not speak in Bangla for those who don't know Bangla. So you'll have to pardon me for that. We have an excellent, when we are starting, when Ajanta sort of discussed the idea of this conference and so on and so forth, we said this is very good, and we would be more than happy to support, and it's great that, the way the event has shaped up. But something that I told Ajanta at the outset was, CRB is a small organization, it's a small entity. Yet we don't want to do transactional work. We don't want to do one event only for the sake of it, or one project only because it is important. So I said, can we develop something for the long term? And she said, yes, let's do that. So this whole idea of investing in nature, or as Dhruvi said, investing for nature, is something that we have planned as an initiative which will hopefully continue to happen, and will have the opportunity to engage on this issue, and all of you will always be remembered as the founding stalwarts of this investment in nature platform, because all of you, this 150 odd people who come today, are essentially ones who believe that investment or investing in nature is important. But just want to sort of get that reassurance from all of you. So raise of hands, how many of you feel that business has a positive role to play in nature or in biodiversity? Okay, this is a group of the believers. So it's great to be in that group, but I think we also need to get people who are detractors, who probably do not believe that business have something to do with in biodiversity, also in this room, and to hear their perspectives. So what we have done is we are very fortunate to have some of the leading thought leaders on this subject and practitioners with us here today. So I'm not going to continue to bore you with my delivery, but I wanted to also highlight maybe 2 or 3 things that we heard this morning from the August panelists who spoke in the opening plenary. Thank you, Rajat. One of the 3 things that I heard, and they are very important, and we are going to talk about them today. The first is that we need to think differently and act differently. Without doubt, business as usual cannot be the norm anymore. So thinking about doing innovative ideas and solutions, that is important. The other thing which was highlighted also is the fact that one has to use a comprehensive systems approach. So you have to reconcile between the nature, biodiversity on one hand, and the livelihoods and communities' interest on the other. So it is critical to ensure that we look at these 2 things. And incidentally, these are 2 points that we will be discussing today. So the way I feel we could do this, because after a Bengali meal it is difficult to keep awake. So I've told the panelists to be alert, because I'm not going to follow any order. I might turn to my right or my left, and anybody is caught napping, I'll turn to that person. And if you are napping, I might even ask a question to you. So be prepared for this little sport that we want to play now, of trying to be awake after a Bengali meal, which is not easy, let me assure you that. The first point that therefore we want to discuss is essentially looking at, and all of the people here, the experts here, they represent an organization, but they've also been seasoned professionals in their own sector. So either as a professional or as a representative of the organization, it would be wonderful to understand from you some of the innovative ways, some new ways of how you feel that business should integrate nature and biodiversity into strategies and policies. So that's the first question, and each one of you will have about 5 minutes, and there is a red flag. I've been shown it twice already, so that's the third time I've been shown a red card and I can't speak anymore. So I'll give the floor to Joyanto.
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. Lunch is really good. And it's a full course lunch is there. And, but thanks to News and CRV for organizing this event. Straight away coming to these questions. You see, I am from the agricultural background. I am served more than 38 years in the agriculture domain across India, in international also. And so for us in agriculture, nature is the only thing which we have to rely on. And most importantly is the soil, is the water, is the air. Everything is very important to us. Now coming to today's perspective and today's questions also, and what innovations and how business integrations are taking place, I'll take few examples to you for your better understanding also. You see, you will find that a lot of campaigns is going on now on safe soil, soil fast, all those things also. Why it has come? Because the topsoil erosion, topsoil degradation has come to such an perspective of your manuring, you cannot get the food what you are producing today after 7 or 8 years also. So this is the first alarm thing, that you have to integrate your business strategies with the nature, with the ecosystems, with the environment also. So that's why, because continuous, you see, and moreover, the native people, the local people are more responsible for the nature rather than this so-called business mindset people. They are here for a close-ended solutions, whereas natives are doing for open-ended solutions. How? Because once we give manure or fertilizer, we get higher yields, but we don't go beyond that. What is the side effect is going on actually? So that's why soil has become the most important point where interventions is taking place, and lot of research, lot of innovations are now taking place in the rejuvenation of soil, soil microbe, organic carbon, all those things. Lot of innovations have already started place also. I will just touch upon those things also. Second thing, interventions with the nature, how it has impacted. You know the tea gardens, those who are from the tea, or they have seen the tea garden, they have seen whatever infestation of pest and disease you are now facing today, it was not there 40, 50 years back also. But why it has happened so? Overnight this pest has not come. Because extensively degradation or deforestation is taking place. The pest, their mother host was the forest. Now they are coming to tea garden because they are finding the similar ecosystem there. So they are building up their populations there. So this is also the exploitation of nature also. So here also, rather than traditional pesticides, you are going for biologicals. This is the innovations that's taking place now all over the globe. You are going for biologicals, which has a very, very least impact on the social, on the ecosystem. So that innovation is coming, and you will find in India, within coming 3 to 4 years, there will be at least 10 to 12 more prominent large-scale companies will be there. And third is the innovations in the marketing setup, which I will reserve for the after I hear from the Reliance, because they are the this thing. So I have highlighted soil, pest management, nutrition management to some extent. Next, I will take later on also.
Thank you for sticking to the time, and maybe I'll turn to Prachi.
So, good afternoon, everyone. So, the perspective which I'll place here is majorly coming from my experience from working from the field. So, I'll just put some context to it before I touch the topic of circular economy, what we are discussing today. So, just assume, I'll give you 2-3 scenarios. So, one area, one village is in Odisha, Koraput, which is a tribal district, and it's one of the remote village, which is majorly predominantly paddy cultivation as the system. Another is in Bihar. The cropping system over there is paddy followed by wheat, and based on water, it's moong in small area, green gram in small area. And third is just recent one, just before this week I was there. One is from Gadchiroli, Maharashtra. Again, a prominent paddy or paddy maize type of cultivation. This is the cropping system. These are the 3 villages collated. I'm giving one experience. So if we try to understand what are these villages bringing from outside into that village at household level and even at the farm level, and what is going out of the village, so what they sell and what they purchase. So just to have a good understanding of it, we just ask them, when do you access market generally? So it is weekly market majorly because these are remote villages. And if you see broader categories, they purchase on weekly basis. One is vegetables, which is major category. The other is pulses. The third is oil. Fourth is, the chips, biscuit, small for kids, chocolates, that type of category. Fifth is meat. So meat in terms of, let's say, chicken, fish, meat, prawn, whatever they consume. And sixth category, let's say fruit is also in some cases. And the last category is, let's say, Colgate, soap, sugar, the grocery items which cannot be produced at that local level. So just a random guess, if anyone wants to take a guess, if a village of 100 household is there, how much must be they spending annually to just purchase this stuff which I mentioned just briefly? Any random guess? Let's say a village, or you can also come out to one family expenditure. Any random guess is fine. Per month, annually, whatever you can come up with. 3,000 rupees. So this cost which I mentioned in this category, excluding the other category, which is clothes, shoes, toothpaste, soap, excluding this category, it comes approx 1 crore for a village annually with a household of 100. So just recently, last week when we did this in Gadchiroli, it's a household of 103 households, spending around 80 lakhs only on this stuff which I mentioned to you. And if you see in their field, it's only paddy cultivation majorly, and then all the other part is left on the market by selling a paddy or the livestock and then purchase from the market. So with this as a background, and even this is just the consumption part I'm mentioning, if we go into the seed system, into the machineries they are availing, fertilizers they are taking, pesticides they are taking, the number will go beyond, 1.5 crore ke upar chala jayega wo. So this is the quantum we are speaking of the remote villages, and this is the conditions which has happened due to the shifting in cropping system, the more dependence of these villages on the outside part. To bring to the conclusion of this, why I place this example to you is, so let's say when we talk of circularity or how this functions, so if a village is spending, let's say, 20 lakhs, 30 lakhs just to purchase the fertilizers, and they have the livestock in their households, which they generally only put in terms of like FIM, which is the byproduct of the livestock, into the agriculture, it can be further enriched locally, which can, reduce the fertilizer consumption and then bring it back to improve the soil health. Similarly, which I mentioned as pulses. So even simple diversification, which is the basic principle of natural farming, one of the basic principle of natural farming, if we diversify the crop with the basic needs what the household have, they have much better, food to consume at the household level. And then this gives the scope to develop smaller enterprises related to dal processing. Even to my surprise, paddy, they take the paddy outside, they sell it, and they bring the polished rice from outside. So that bran, the broken rice has gone from that complete area, it's out of that landscape. So this is the condition, and this is prominently emerging across India. So there's a lot of scope to work upon such types of enterprises. So I'm cutting it short, but
Sure,
yeah.
sure. Thanks, Prachi. Shrimui?
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Digit, you started the session saying think and act differently, and I think that kind of stayed back with me. I'm representing a company here who's doing work differently. Hi, everyone. My name is Shrimui Bhattacharya. I'm representing Marico Limited. I look after sustainability for India, Bangladesh, and Vietnam. Does anyone know what does Marico do? What do we manufacture? Sorry? Right, time order. You must be from the south. Are you? Okay. Right, so we are not the manufacturers of Mary Biscuit, but we are, that happens very often. I get that question very often. We are the manufacturers of your very spoon staple parachute, Sapola oil, Revive, Livon, etc., etc. Nihal. So for us, this word differently, which I picked up from Rijit, Marico's purpose, this company was set up by Mr. Harsh Mariwala 40 years back, right? The purpose of this organization is to make a difference. So it's not just about thinking and acting differently, it's about making that difference and quantifying that delta, that difference that we are able to create as a $2 billion company, right? So that's the motto. The program that we have, the sustainability program that we have at Marico, started not very long back. In 2017 was when we had our first 5-year goals. We managed to overachieve our goals by 2021, only because of the top-down commitment that the company has on various ESG aspects. In 2022, on the 50th anniversary of World Environment Day, which is June, we launched our 2030 roadmap. Why do I say about this? The reason is that we are all in this decade of action, right? If you follow the UN SDGs, if you follow any global commitment on sustainability using the SDGs as a Bible, we are in the decade of action. So if we can do anything, we've already reached a point of no return. Let's accept it, right? The change is irreversible. 2nd August 2023 has been declared as the Earth Overshoot Day. So that's the bad news. The good news, or rather the somewhat pacifying news, is if we can try to at least reduce the pace of that change. So companies like Marico, you heard Madhurika in the morning talking about ITC, or any other company, whichever sector we are talking about, whatever we are trying to do is just to reduce the pace of this irreversible change, this ticking bomb that we are all sitting on, trying to see if there is something, some good work that we can do to reduce the overall impact, right? Now, the Decade of Action roadmap that Marico launched 3 years back, that has 3 specific aspects that I want to talk about today. The first one is our water stewardship program. Very similar to what ITC was mentioning in the morning, water stewardship is a material topic for any FMCG company, right? Now the work that we do is we have actually started our water credit program. The name of the program is Jalashay. We actually create rainwater conservation potential for communities which are living in and around our factories. There are 7 factories that we have here in India. In and around our factories, what we do is we do a source water vulnerability assessment, and we try to identify what is the water stress that exists in and around our plant, and we create water conservation potential. Till date, about 4 billion liters of water potential has been created. So through that, at least we are trying to ensure if there is water, there will be biodiversity restoration. If there is enough water security, you will have community sustenance. If you have community sustenance, you can even explain the concept of conservation to them, right? The second thing that we've started doing is Marico is the largest buyer of coconut in the country. Because I said that we are manufacturers of parachute, you would understand that it's our largest commodity that we buy, the dried copra. It's called the dried coconut. It's known as copra. Coconut is a very water-intensive crop. So we we decided, using Parachute, which is a signature brand, a flagship brand here in India, we wanted to do something for the absolute grassroots of this entire value chain, which is for the smallholder farmers. So Parachute as a brand has a program known as Kalpit Rickshaw. I don't know if some of you would have heard about it already. There, the kind of work that we do is we work with the small-scale coconut farmers of the country across the 4 belts of coconut cultivation in India: Kerala, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, and Andhra Pradesh. And we kind of boost up their overall productivity, their socio-economic development. So that's the area that we're working on. We're also helping them myth-based farming into sustainable scientific agriculture. The other thing that we are doing is we are working with our value chain. We have a program known as Samyog, where we critically, for our critical suppliers, we are assessing their impact on 3 areas. One is ethical responsibility, environmental stewardship, and social accountability. We've developed a metric on the basis of which we are assessing them, and going forward, we would really want to work towards development of a sustainable coconut charter. We are also working on a no deforestation policy, which is a very, very important thing for any FMCG company. If you have to have that element of tracing back to where you are sourcing from. If you are an FMCG company that is manufacturing honey or any forest produce, you should be able to transparently show where are you sourcing it from and whether any deforestation is happening or not. So those are some of the areas that we are working on, and I will be talking more about. Thank you.
Thank you. First of all, thank you, the organizer, for inviting us here and to give the opportunity. I represent Reliance Retail, myself Somnath Boshak, and as you know that Reliance Retail is currently having almost 18,000 store network in India, 18,000 plus, and having many upstream, midstream and downstream value chain partners, including, if I talk about starting from the farmers in the grocery sector, there is a fashion and lifestyle business, jewels business with international brands. So a lot of opportunity if we talk about innovations and biodiversity restoration. So if I name few and what we have done yet, what we could have done, and we are learning each and every day. And here I should mention that actually Reliance Retail comes under Reliance Industries Limited as a bigger umbrella. So we have not been listed yet in the stock market. So the BRSR and this mandatory part not yet applicable for us. We are learning in that part. And we are in collaboration with Reliance Industries Limited, Reliance Foundation. We are working together in sustainability sector. So I'm just giving you few examples what we have done. The major example, if I can give you, regarding innovation, like there is a program we called, there is a product we call Arilan Earth Tea. It is a T-shirt which is produced from recycled PET bottles collected from Lakme Fashion Week 2025. It is a very recent example I'm giving you. I'm not stopping here. Actually, this circular fashion with environmental responsibility, which we are actually providing to the customer. You can purchase the T-shirt only exclusively from a NGO partner. We are also actually empowering that NGO partner. This is socio-economic upliftment of the NGO partner also. Here we are not stopping. Actually, per purchase of the T-shirt, the NGO partner will be planting 3 trees in the forest. So that has been agreed, and agreement has been done with Reliance. Next one example is organic cotton, recycled polyester being used in energy efficient manufacturing process and ethical sourcing. That is the product called Pro Art. I believe you know. It is by Azorte Vertical. So it can be purchased in omni-channel also. So Pro Art is also ethical, it is produced in ethical sourcing. Another point I would like to mention here is that especially in grocery business, we are exclusively dependent on farmers. And I myself engaged with Reliance Foundation team, and also I had a collaboration with BCKV. One of the scientists we have onboarded, we have actually had a program with BCKV in our collection centers where farmers are coming, registered farmers are coming, and we are also empowering those farmers how the weather prediction can happen, how the how the rotation of the crops can be done efficiently. Those things we are looking at. However, this part, innovation in this part, and I would like to get help from the other partners also. Here might be some NGOs or other interesting parties are present who can help us in this part to empower farmers, to help them in rotation of the crops, better crop management, better pest management, weather prediction part. So that is the thing I would like to mention here. I believe I am having 2 minutes, Rajat. Okay, only 1 minute. So lastly, I would like to mention here that in this 1 minute is that while I was having lunch, a wonderful incident happened to me. I'd like to mention, just to share. I was just starting, at the starting I was standing in a queue. That was a soup center. So one aged lady was standing just before me. I offered her the bowl, soup bowl, because she was standing away from the bowl. As soon as I offered the bowl, she offered me the spoon, because spoon was actually away from me. So what I am trying to mention here, actually the resemblance came to my mind is that it is joining of the hands. Only the things will happen. We have to extend our hand. You have to extend your hand also. Then the soup will be made. So that's all from my side.
Thank you, Rijit, and the news for this opportunity. So we were all talking about sustainability and the role of business in ensuring sustainability. And the only people who could really make a great impact when it comes to sustainability is businesses. Because fortunately or unfortunately, we are born at that time of our planet's history where we have crossed the deadlines. Yeah, and everybody has to consume. You should have your lunch, you should have your dinner, and you have a car, you have diesel, petrol, all of these things. You will consume, and consumption has got an effect on the natural resources. Everything has to come from this planet, as long as we are not started mining from outside. So, for this to succeed and to conserve, let's take biodiversity as a component, because as of now, people speak of water, people speak of carbon, and maybe certain focus areas. But if you look biodiversity as a component of this, and it has farmer who is the backbone of our entire agriculture system, a business case for the business that is buying and selling, and unless that does not exist, in that aspect, we are a Denmark-based non-profit, and our mission is to support initiatives like this that will help businesses go sustainable and give consumers an option to go sustainable. I can tell you quickly a couple of projects that we are associated with where continuity has been ensured. Since late 90s, we are working with the government of Malaysia, the local communities there, and then we have established a protected area around 143,000 hectares. And that project is still continuing. After funding has stopped, of course there are promoters, after the core funding has stopped, it has started generating its own revenue, and now it has gone to the extent of supporting local communities and generating an income for them, and also conserving that particular forest. And similarly, we have another project which is a low carbon rice project. If you see, rice is one of those commodities that is also contributing to climate change. So what we did is we helped farmers to go sustainable, follow climate smart agriculture, reduce the carbon impact, and then we worked with industries to ensure that there will be a market for this rice. And to start with, we started working with restaurant businesses, let's say KFC at that point of time, or big restaurant chains, and they committed to buy the rice. And so that's an example of how it can continue. So the key thing is that we should go beyond the current compliance and certification model and think beyond certification, where we could make options for businesses to have a business case, and then of course combine technology, transparency into the system, and always see biodiversity as a key component of this. The more biodiverse your system is, the more stability you get. If you see, when we had Corona, I come from Kerala, when we had Corona, Kerala has got some of the most biodiverse home gardens, and the next most biodiverse home gardens, which are globally known as in Kandy, Sri Lanka. And we never ran out of vegetables because the farm biodiversity used to support us. We could just go to the farm, pick something, and have our lunch prepared. So that's the contribution of biodiversity. And also another interesting work which we are doing is to make the assessment of biodiversity easy for industries and farmers. Right now, the assessment of biodiversity is very complex. So one of our projects is to see that we are developing indicators that could be used by farmers to review of how biodiverse their farm is. It's a very interesting project, and we have commitments, and we are already working with chocolate companies. I can't disclose their names. Chocolate companies. We have been working with FMCGs who are promised to buy the product those farms and give them a small premium for being biodiverse. So to conclude, I would like to reiterate that there must be a business case, and there must be continuity when you do sustainability initiatives to conserve biodiversity, and go beyond a compliance model and think in a holistic manner, and finally to have partnerships and coalitions for this cause. And Rijit, if you are planning to continue this event next year, we would also like to partner, and Preferred by Nature Foundation would support in the way that is possible. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, thanks Adarsh, and thanks to all the panelists. Quite a few extremely interesting points have been highlighted in terms of some of the sort of innovative ideas and ways in which the business is starting to look at biodiversity. One of the things that is also important for us to understand is these are two different concepts, biodiversity and nature. I think we sometimes use it interchangeably, but we probably for the purpose of this conversation and this event today, I think we probably want to sort of stay at a macro level, and therefore probably nature is the right sort of anchor for us to consider. But still, I think it is important to understand what is our understanding of nature, and what do we what are those elements that will help us, what you said, Adarsh, at the end, understand what is our impact and perhaps also our dependency on nature. And from a business's perspective, what is also important is again what we heard this morning was it is critical to ensure that any consideration when it comes to investing in nature should be done in such a way that the idea of working or strengthening the natural asset will have to be reconciled with the consideration for the welfare as far as the human and the social asset is concerned. So and that is essentially our next round, which is how do you reconcile these two sometimes opposite forces, consideration for nature on one hand together with the consideration for the social and the community. So I'd like to start maybe with Shimoy on that.
Get Roger first when I speak. Right. Right, it's a very important point, Rajit. See, I want to explain to you the concept. I've been in this field of sustainability for 16 years now, looked at almost all sides of the coin, from regulatory to consulting to corporate to social sector. The one thing by which this investing in nature will become a real concept is if you consider nature or if you consider environment as your stakeholder. What we tend to do is whenever corporates like us are doing a stakeholder engagement map, or we are doing, we are writing our nice, fancy, flashy annual reports, and we talk about stakeholder engagement, we consider suppliers, consumers, community, employees. We do not consider environment as a stakeholder because we find that it's just there, right? It will be there, this irreversible change, because it is not impacting us on a daily basis. because it does not have a grievance register where someone can actually come and write, these are the kind of grievances that you've done to us. It is not considered as a stakeholder. So the first element by which investing in nature can happen is if you consider environment to be one of your stakeholders. Then you start measuring the kind of impact. Anything that you measure matters, right? So the moment you start measuring your impact, the kind of value that you're creating on the environment, that is the starting point of how you can really create, stakeholder capitalism, right? The last point over here is for a product manufacturing company, whichever sector you're in, whether you're in FMCG, you're in automotive, you start measuring your impact on nature, not as an organization, but as a product. If this is a parachute bottle that I manufacture, for this particular bottle, what is the environmental impact that I'm creating? If you can actually boil down environmental impact to a product level, to an individual level, and you start measuring that, talking about that, that's how investment in nature would happen. And yes, I'm on time.
So, just taking the reference of the previous example which I placed in front of you, considering that as a condition, so the idea is how we bringing the production system is there, different production systems are there in that landscape, and natural resources are there. And there is a lot of interactions happening between this one. So at the given landscape level, how we bring the nutrient circularity between that landscape, and that landscape can be, watershed boundary or a GP, Gram Panchayat admin boundary or a block boundary, whatever we want to take it. But then how the small enterprises which circulate whatever is the byproduct of one, processing, and that act as an input to the other, can be very clearly mapped if we give time and sit with the community and understand their needs and where are the critical issues they are facing. So just to cite one example is, this is a large scale example. There are 2-3 examples I have written, but I think because of time I'll go only with one. So there's this Odisha millet mission which has been quite well discussed across India and outside also. So this is an initiative. The action is happening at the field level, wherein let's not discuss about the disadvantages which we see. There always are, but the positive part of it is we can see a very diverse millet production, consumption, and also procurement by the government, and then integrated into ICDS and different sectors. This led to even conservation of land races and revived the local recipes which the people used to generally consume, which was earlier their nutritional part. So this is one of the good example where we can see a climate resilient cropping systems getting back into their native locations, building the nutritional health, and then even taken up by the government and acted at multiple levels. So I think because of time I'll give only one example, but there are a lot of such examples which we can see. So one very local example I'll give: community managed seed system. Here the complete idea is to collect the seeds, traditional seeds locally. It can be from Gram Panchayat level, block level, district level, but suitable for that local agroecological system. And then after collection, then it goes for conservation, wherein this different seed varieties are cultivated, and then participatory farmers decide which variety is better. It's not like I coming in and telling ये variety अच्छा है तो ले लो, ये climate के लिए अच्छा ये चल जाएगा. People select for based on taste, production, productivity, and then they decide to multiply it, which later on goes into multiplication and then linkage to the market. So this is just I'm explaining in very briefly, and the crops which are traditional varieties but they are currently out of use goes into conservation. So such smaller systems can bring really very good impact, but then it needs, it's not a short-term work. It needs time. You need to work with people, and the way currently the projects are designed, 3 साल का project, 5 साल का project नहीं होता है. We are talking of transformation at the field level, and we are talking of behavioral change of people. So that cannot take place in such a short span. Thank you.
So. Thank you for the topic. See, basically, if I talk about my organization, Reliance Retail, I will give example and in the paucity of time, so I will not go in detail. how this biodiversity and social welfare can be reconciled. That was the topic. So, if I just giving example, we use Tetra Pak. We all use as a consumer in different products we consume from Tetra Pak, right? Retail also sell Tetra Pak, and we everyone go and purchase Tetra Pak from retail stores. However, after consuming that Tetra Pak becomes a headache and becomes waste. Right, it's a composite packaging. If we not manage it properly, it goes into the waste, it goes into the landfill. If it burnt in the incinerator, it will pollute air. So it's a problem in biodiversity. Even it goes in the ocean also, right? So what we did, retail actually has a agreement as a collaboration with one of the company named Tetra Pak India Private Limited in association with RUR Green Line. I think Rijit knows. So in grocery division basically did this, and we converted 13 Mayo Tetra Pak into school desk and chair, and it has been donated to 350 plus schools. So again, that social part, welfare part has been taken care, has been supported in that way. It was recognized by Limca Book of Records and also featured in National Geographic. So just give example how in every sector of business we can look after these both things. We can reconcile the both things. I've only talked about grocery business. However, if I talk about our organization, we have plenty of opportunities in every sector. In fashion, lifestyle, in jewels, in electronic business, we have the opportunity, and we are working on that. That's it. I did within time, I think.
I have seen even in Bangladesh also that they are producing huge number of vegetables, and there is a facility in there, and they are one of the highest vegetable exporter in the world. And the facility is so accurately mapped that farmers in US can identify in which plot it has been grown, which of the chemicals they are spraying, which of the pesticides they are spraying, which of the how much water has been used, everything they have captured in that plot. So I think capability is an important intervention where community involvement and biodiversity can lead to big in the future. Then also taking proof of Reliance also, because I have worked with them also in different projects. Reliance has come with a geofishing, that is a portal of local supply to be installed in the farmer's plot, and that will give you data of the up to 12 kilometers. If there are 100 or 200 farmers are there, that will give what is the nutrient coefficient of their plot, how much water is there, whether they need immediately irrigation or not. So that has totally changed the profile. So with one supply of machine, at least 200 to 300 farmers is involved. And they have improved this. And last one I will say that rice is the most dominant, you can say, emission segment on the agricultural sector. And fortunately, eastern part, we are very fortunate that we have a plenty of rice. But those who are in the water stream segment, they know what is what. But now the new technology has come, that is called DSR, direct seed of rice also. That without inundating your field also, farmers can produce as much as produce they can do, and they can earn better quality because their irrigation cost is coming down, and they can produce plenty of vegetables. So these interventions I think are very important where biodiversity and community development is there. And last, I think that I am only 10 or another thing, you know that innovations are taking, corporates are doing very huge investment on lot of chemicals in the honey. Lot of chemicals in the honey. And you are producing it here where you are supposed to export to your. The moment they say in your flexibility, you have used this chemical, you are using not, they will cancel your contract. So that's why this sort of investment that without innovative now, with the help of flexibility, with the help of new technology, how we can go for more comprehensive and holding between buyer and the government as we go forward and yes, sir.
Thank you, Rajat. Last word, I get it, yes. I would like to see it from a holistic point of view. Investing in nature is not costly. It doesn't cost much. There is a myth that it is extremely expensive to go sustainable. I don't agree to the fact. Because once you go sustainable, you are indirectly or directly securing your supply chains for the long term, future as well. That's one point. And a question to you, if for a pack, let's say 100 rupee pack of biscuit, to go and use sustainable, let's say palm, how much will it cost? Palm is a focus commodity that causes a lot of deforestation and a lot of negative. How much will it cost for 100 rupee pack of biscuit? Rajit will know it because we own the palm for it will cost less than 1 rupee or 0.00 some rupees to go sustainable for mass produced FMCG biscuit. So it is not expensive to go for investing in nature. That's one thing. And the other thing is that how does investing in nature happen? It happens through two ways. One is it happens voluntarily. The other one, you are forced to go sustainable, right? Take for example of Europe, they water it down. There is CBAM, there is CSDDD, CSRD, what else? EUDR, the old EUTR. All of them are forcing to go sustainable. In India, we do not have regulations of that nature. So whatever for the mass market, maybe certain companies are covered by the ESG, but for the mass market, we do not have. So investing in nature in India normally happens on a voluntary basis. And wherever we speak, our experience is that so I'd like to reiterate, it is not that expensive. And that to see nature as a major stakeholder, as it was discussed before, nature is one of your biggest stakeholder, and if you invest into it and if you can secure your future, yeah, why not go for it? And Jayanta brought the case of bees. We as a civilization are doomed the day the bees are done. That's the last day we survive here. And interventions to go towards regenerative agriculture, managing your soil, managing your hedgerows, and indirectly that also benefits the bees. And that does not cost a ton. We have a project which we are running with Nestle and Prosecco, where we are going for regenerative agriculture, and those farmers get a small advantage in terms of price when they sell it to this particular brand. So to conclude, I'd like to conclude that investing in nature is not that expensive. It requires awareness and some. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. A lot of extremely important points, and I'd like to open it up for questions. So we'll have a questions and for and followed by the gentleman. Please identify yourself. A question. If you can ask a question and not share an opinion, I think that will be great. Thanks.
Hello, myself Shudip, representing FIAM APC based in Uttar Dinajpur. Market. Investing in nature for a corporate not much, doesn't cost much. But do we really environmental Somnath, the question is like we are being as a APC, we are supplying our products to Reliance through an organization. My question to you is like, as a vendor onboarding to Reliance, are you supporting or are you factoring any kind of like with any kind of factor like whether this vendor or the supplier uh, is producing sustainably or does they factoring on biodiversity? Because the challenge is if we go to onboard as a FPC to Reliance Retail, there is a huge cost for onboarding charge, which we can't afford. So we have to go through a different chain. But our FPC team is there. So these are two questions.
Myself is Dr. Saurabh Pal. I'm from Jadavpur University as well as from Estuarian Coastal Studies Foundation. So my question is to my class friend, Srimoyi, and to many other corporates. That's when you hire people, like who takes care of your home? People from inside, not the third party assessors, right? They are just your visitors. Like they don't have any accountability. Your people takes care. So when you hire people, Srimoyi, do you still remember those classes of DK's sir? He used to teach us about the externalities. How should we actually come up with the cost? How should we come up with the cost benefits? Do we actually hire those sort of peoples or even ask them when they come to the hiring table? Are you conscious about that? Because that consciousness goes through the soul of a company and reverberates rather than taking somebody outsiding auditor. Oh, my company have done it. Just have an assessment of it.
Hi. Yeah, my name is Aditya. I work as a consultant with Econiche, and we work closely with news for a recent project. So yeah, my question, I think there's a lot of questions towards Reliance particularly today. But yeah, I think what right has mentioned about Marico taking water restoration projects very seriously, and I think coconut being the largest this thing. Yeah, the question is basically towards Reliance because coconut also consumes water, and I think Marico has had zero liquid discharge. I think that will be the thing. But on top of that, Reliance, I think one step back, Reliance Industries, it's the largest manufacturer of polyester fabric in the world, and there's a lot of water consumption there. So, in your knowledge, is there any like sort of water restoration programs which they're focusing on? That's my question.
Okay, sir. So I'm currently a student of MSc in Terry, and now currently I'm doing internship in news. So I have a question towards Reliance Retail, sir. Very sorry, but since you actually spoke about sustainable fashion and everything, but we know that Reliance Retail is one of the fast fashion groups, and it has also revived Sheen. So how does your accountability towards biodiversity is showing? And you have also told that you haven't yet included your BRSR report, but it was mandated by SEBI in 2021. So how are you going to approach towards biodiversity and the balance chain and everything? Yeah, sir, since you told about sustainable fashion, so I wanted to know that what is your accountability towards biodiversity when we know that Reliance is one of the fast fashion groups now in India, and also that it has revived Shein when Shein was banned in China for its poor supply chain and everything. And so what was the motto behind revival of Shein? Thank you, sir.
I can't say no to you.
How
can I say no to you?
Hi, I am Subhashis Basu, founder member of News. I have just one question. you mentioned producer and intermediate marketing, but how can you how can I aware the consumers that benefits of this is available in the retail marketing? That is just a product. People in Western Hemisphere, the consumers are well aware and they consume it. But people here, no, it is possible. Leave it.
Very good question. Thank you.
This is the basic question because ultimately consumer will decide. He is the king. If the consumer is not there,
He or she,
then that will not.
Thank you for the question, sir. The gentleman at the back also had his hand. He wanted to ask a question, so let's just. You wanted to ask a question?
Because the example I think Prachi given about millet mission not a very good example. Why? Because I belongs to. Okay. Yeah. Because what happened? They released 4 or 5, I think, local land races, but at the same time they are massively bringing hybrid or ragi seeds in this plantations. So that's why it's not a very good example. That's why.
I'll just finish very quickly here. So last word at this time. So the first question was, do we calculate factor environmental cost? The day we are born. Yes. So yes, we do factor environmental cost. Because the sustainability evaluation happens on protocols that are widely accepted, protocols that are third party, peer reviewed, and so on. There are many protocols, and sometimes industries have their own protocols as well. So yes, we do have the environmental impact factored into it, but of course any production process, be it sustainable or non-sustainable, will have some degree of environmental impact which we can't avoid. We are human beings, we consume. That's consumption brings that. The other question about third-party assessors, if you are an industry and if you come to the world and tell that I'm really good, I'm the best in the world, nobody will believe you. Where the role of third-party assessors come is that they come and they attest your sustainability credentials, but the key point is to select a third-party assessor who is trusted, respected, and has an impeccable track record. Otherwise it will become you claiming that you are good, which is different.
Thanks. You will get it. We'll come to consumers.
I'll start from you.
We'll come to consumers.
Was that to me?
I will also have coffee with you.
I'll try, sir, to start on consumers, because if consumers don't exist, company like Marico won't exist, right?
Yes.
So I'll take 2 questions. I'll take yours and obviously your question on environmental cost being incorporated in the product. And of course the hypothesis as well. Yes, how can I forget my classroom? Taking yours first and just adding to what Adarsh said, ours is a product manufacturing company, right? Life cycle assessment is an absolute non-negotiable for a company like mine, right? Where we undertake not just environmental life cycle assessment, but we have developed, and I was trying to explain about that in the earlier slot as well. We've actually developed something known as a product sustainability index, where if the company stands for, let's say, 50 topics under E, S, and G, how can we funnel that down to a product level? Every product, whatever SKU it is, whatever type of product it is, whether it's a food product, it's a beauty product, it's a hair oil, every product has to undergo that product sustainability assessment. And I'm very proud to say that biodiversity is actually one of the critical elements in that index itself. So it does not get missed out, or it doesn't get considered as a good to have. It's an absolute must-have. The moment you include that, your cost for any kind of environmental footprint gets accomplished, right? So I can tell you more about how we do this, what kind of products we do over coffee.
Or tea.
Or tea. On your question, sir, consumers, absolutely important. So what we are trying to do right now, and this is a work in progress. Consumers are the most, they are the underdog in this process right now. We are not Price conscious, however, however, absolutely. This is the data from IMRB as of last year. 65% of the consumers, the new age consumers as I call it, have actually responded to a market survey saying they are willing to shift their choices, consumer choices, if a company can explain what are the kind of steps that have been taken towards sustainable. 65% of Indian consumers. Yes.
I mean, the point that you're making is a very valid point. I think you should also allow her to give you an answer, and then maybe we can discuss it outside because there are views. No,
Very
absolutely.
tough question, sir. Absolutely, and there is no right answer to this as well. What companies like Marico are targeting are the consumers of tomorrow, because if you do not target them, আপনার সময় যে consumers ছিল আর আমাদের সময় যে absolutely, because the consumers absolutely not just advertisement, even in the product.
Let her respond to the question.
Not just advertisement. If this is my product, I need to write on my product itself what is my environmental footprint, what have I done on the packaging itself.
I will, let's not talk about the consumer discussion because I think we can take it later on, and maybe that's something that we can do in the next version of Invest. Invest in consumer.
Okay, so a lot of questions. It will actually give great opportunity for me for the learning. So please don't expect I'm having all answers. I'm representing the organization called Reliance Retail, not Reliance as a whole. The first thing, because a lot of questions related to Reliance. So of course I'm having limited knowledge, and of course limited knowledge regarding the whole industry. Reliance Industries Limited is a huge, as you know, it's a huge umbrella. There are a lot of verticals. If you go through their annual report, you will see how many subsidiaries are there. So knowing them in totality is almost impossible for me. So consumer part I have already omitted. Okay, it's a very rigid no. So I'll actually come from the last part. The questions has been asked. The young lady asked about BRSR. I guess you are talking about BRSR. So BRSR is not applicable for Reliance Retail as we are not listed yet in the stock market, as I have already mentioned. So it is applicable for Reliance Industries Limited. So we are supporting Reliance Industries Limited with our data to report to SEBI in BRSR. So if you go through our BRSR report, there is a data related to Reliance Retail also. That is point one. Point two is you asked about Shein banning in fashion thing, right? Fashion product. So I have limited knowledge about this fashion lifestyle or banning in Shein, but I will come back to you. You please at the end you take my mail ID. So get back to me. I will get back to you with the answers. What you exactly want to know. Next question asked to water restoration in RIL. Some I think he was asking. So again, I need to check about RIL factor. Hiring already you mentioned. Onboarding vendor in environmental factors. You are asking, sir, right? So onboarding process of the vendor, it is being taken care centrally. So there is a set process, and yes, there is a clause also related to the environmental part, how the factors are being taken care by the vendors. However, this scope 1, scope 2, scope 3 in Reliance Retail, we are learning. We have not implemented yet, as I have mentioned. So that analysis is missing currently. The analysis or LCA of the vendors also, that part is not there. But onboarding of vendors, what are the clauses, whether the factors are there, that what you are actually trying to understand, that you need to go back to our center, not at the local level. I am looking after eastern part. That's it. Yeah. Yes.
Thank you. Coffee. No, not now. Okay, so 30 seconds to each one of you. if there was one issue on nature that you felt very passionately about for business to contribute, and please take off your hat of your individual companies because that's a problem. It sticks with you. You are not able to become Somnath. You always become Somnath Reliance and she will be always Srimoyi Mariko. Take that off. As a professional, invested in this sector for such a long time, if there was one priority issue related to nature that businesses should invest on or take, and work on as a priority, what will that be? 30 seconds, 15 seconds actually.
So I think the way the measures of indicators are currently are being used should be, it should go with 180-degree change. 180-degree change with the indicators we are using for measuring. So, so it's the groundwater which I think is the severe part, which is.
I would like to tell the industry ecological resilience is not a binary. Yeah. I would say it's not an issue, and I don't see it in isolation. A willingness and be open. Yeah.
To me, is only soil.
People awareness is the yes.
To me, it's measurement. Measure what matters.
And Rijit, one last thing: thinking in silos.
Thank you to all of our panelists for presenting us such an interesting session, and also obviously to our chair, Mr. Gupta, for moderating this one. That was really interesting, and also to our participants, other participants who have posed so interesting questions, and I hope you have got your answers. If you haven't got your answers, so you have a scope, further scope, because there is a tea station and there will be an high tea. If you don't get your answer in this tea, you can have in that high tea. So that's the thing. Okay, so we would request Mr. Shubhashish Basu, sir, our governing body member of Nature, Environment and Wellness, to felicitate our panelists. So, I would request Mr. Jayanta Chakraborty to. Thank you, sir. Miss Prachi Patil. Thank you, Miss Patil. Miss Srimoyi Bhattacharya. Thank you, Miss Bhattacharya. Mr. Adarsh Mohandas. Mr. Somnath Bhatta. Thank you, sir. Now, another request. We would like to invite you all for a photo session with Shivashi sir also. Sir, please come here. So I would like to remind you that the next session that will be started at 3:30. After this tea, the tea is just available outside this office. So enjoy your tea, please. is working to grow. Sustainable trip, farming. Alok's international experience includes an Australia Awards Fellowship on Women's Economic Empowerment 2018, working with IDE in Ethiopia on water resource solutions, that is 2012, and contributing to sustainable agricultural activities with CSIRO Brisbane and ACIAR in 2016 to 2021. His expertise integrates water, soil, and landscape management to promote ecological rejuvenation and community resilience. So, welcome our panelists for this session, and I'm here now handing over the mic to our chair, Dr. Mittal.
Thank you, Madam, for the brief introduction of the participants as a panel member as well as for the program. Now we are running a little late and we have to conclude on time also. So we have changed this strategy a little bit, and based on that, our esteemed speakers are already available. So without wasting time, I would like to tell you about a little more about the this session. The session is basically FPOs and FPGs in the green economy, the role of FPOs and FPGs in promoting nature positive products and services, existing good practices and experience. So our two panelists are going to present their presentation, and the three panelists are going to have discussion point mode where they are going to experience sharing mode for the audience. And later on we'll have the question answer, and that would be like 10 to 20 minutes based on availability of the time. Now the issue is, if you look at this FPO concept, which is farmer producer organization and farmer producer companies and farmer producer groups also. So the point is, this concept is not new, although it was initiated by the government of India, Ministry of Agriculture, and supported by the all state governments, and later on the multi stakeholders has involved. So the board is like the corporate involvement, NGOs, institutions, and many more. So the different type of capacity building programs are organizing, and the handholding is happening, and we are going to present to the audience like the real time case study what it is really happening. I would like to share one very remarkable work which is in association of CRP and News, which is organizing in West Bengal, in the Sundarban, and we have sidekick Mana, who's from this news organization, and he's going to share his experience for this project. And all esteemed speakers are well versed in their experience. So let me begin with Mr. Subrato Mondal. He has been CGM, like the Chief General Manager of NABARD, and spent more than 30 years in his services in the NABARD. And he is a man of FPO, and you may ask any kind of question, and he's a very rich presentation for his presentation also as a PPT. So I'll request Mr. Mondal to give his presentation, and can we stick to the time limit 10 to 11? Yeah, please.
बहुत ज़्यादा उधर बाहर जाए तो अच्छा
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. I'm making a small presentation here. Due to, as you are aware, due to the fragmentation of land holding and climate change, agriculture is not economically viable and profitable, and cost of cultivation is increasing day by day, and farmers are not getting remunerated price. So, in order to make agriculture economically economically viable and profitable, there is need for aggregation of farmers into farmers producer organization for purchase of input collectively and aggregation of agriculture produces from individual farmers for collective marketing. Okay, sorry. This will reduce number of intermediaries and farmers will get better quality of input with cheaper cost and will realize better price for their produce. Collectivization and aggregation will help in improving the scale of operation and enhance the bargaining power of small farmers to negotiate for better price for their input and improve access to the market for better price realization for output. So this is the background of the farmers producer organization, why farmers was thought of. Next slide. The producer organization is legal entity and registered body formed by the primary producer, that is farmers, milk producer, fisherman. Producer organization can be producer company, cooperative society or any other legal form which provides sharing of profit or benefit among members. Next. Role of FPO. There is aggregation of input through input business, transfer of technology to enhance production and productivity, collective marketing through procurement and marketing on MSP, tie-up with retail chain, value addition through primary, secondary and tertiary processing, collective marketing through open market operation, trading, exporting, future trading. Next. Some issues on sustainability of FPO. Before that, I would like to share with you that with this background, NABARD 2011-12 created the producer organization development fund with the corpus of 50 crores to start with to promotion of the FPO. Later on, government contributed another 200 crores, and now it is the mainstream activity of promotion of the 10,000 FPO. So, FPO is out of that, I will not discuss here. But while discussing with the joint secretary, they told the same. Still, there are some issues are there. You highlight on that. Some issues on the sustainability of FPOs are the poor governance. That is the main worry for us. The poor governance. The poor capital base. The preparation of the preparation and execution of the viable business plan. Then lack of technical skill and professional manpower for managing their business. Limited access to credit due to poor borrowing capacity and inadequate access to organized market and weak basic infrastructure for aggregation, storage, transportation and value addition. So these are the issues facing for sustainability of the FPO. So sustainable value chain is indirectly it is sustainability FPO. If the value chain is viable, then automatically FPO will be the this or collapse is the poor governance, breakdown of the trust between member, leaders and managers, and managing a group of producers with different priorities is a different task, especially when POs become larger. Okay, next. Next. Good governance is a transparent decision-making process in which the leadership of FPO in an effective and accountable way direct resource and exercise power on the basis of shared values. Next. The good governance has 8 major principles. So these are the principles are there. Next. The FPOs are FPGs in the clean economy. The NABARD is implementing tribal development program, watershed development program, umbrella program for natural resource management through NGOs or CSO. In the area of watershed TDF UPNM program, FPGs are being promoted among the beneficiaries for developing sustainable value chains and integrating green technologies and practices. Next. Now I'll share about my experience in implementation of the tribal development project. The NABARD is implementing the tribal development project with WADI approach in association with the PAP since 1995 in hilly area of Valsad and Dang districts, Gujarat, and Nasik and Thane district in Maharashtra. This is highly successful model. Based on experience, NABARD constituted tribal development fund in 2004-5 with a corpus of 50 crores. Next. The area was barren wasteland before the project. People are migrating for their survival. Next. Approach. Next. This is the approach is small orchard that is called body of suitable fruit crop with forest plantation on the boundary. That is the core intervention. Then development through people participation and formation of village Ayan Somiti, self-help group and farmers producer organization, remediation of the tribal on sustainable basis. Next. Then investigation and application of the science and technology. Next. Use of locally available resources and skill. Next. Focus on livelihood and quality of life. Next. The component, the core components of our body. Next. Then community health. Next is the water movement development, that is drudgery reduction, income generating activities through self-help group, microfinance, processing and marketing, and promotion of farmers producer organization. Next, the component ODI. ODI is that's 1 acre model. There is a 2 to 3 crops. There will be 40 to 60 plants and 3 to 4 forestry species. There will be around 500 plants and fodder grass on bunds. So this will be used for feeding the milk cattle. And then improve inter-cultivation or intercropping. Next, the improved tools. Next, soil conservation. And then water resource development. Next, the beginning of body is the feed making. That is the entry point activity out of from the. Next, the body is the core component. This orchard. Next. There's 2 fruit crops identified in the project was the mango and cashew. Next. Next. The underwater system development that wells with the solar pump. Next. The construction of temporary jake barn for the storing of rainwater. Next. Then women empowerment through formation of self-help groups. Next. That equal men and women's equal participation in body development program. Next, then raising the mango nursery by self-help group just to get one is the for the income generating activity and another is that just to get the fruit to the mother type of plant materials. Next, agriculture implement for livelihood employment for landless. Next, community health. Next. That chlorination water called self drinking water. Next, the village Ayan Somiti for planning and execution. Next, that sweet fruits of hard labor, that it is caring just like his son. Next, value addition, that is the cashew processor as processing at this level. by the landless women, the food processing activity. Next, process cashew mango. Next, that product branding and labeling, that is more important for credible and premium prices. That is the product, name is the Vrindavan, the product of body. Next, impact. Nearly 1 billion man is generated for 50,000 families under Natural Resource Management Program under German Development Corporation. Next, the NABARD has set up dedicated fund for water center tribal development out of its own resources. Next, NABARD play a key role in shaping policy for tribal and rain-fed areas under green economy. They are shaping policy for Farmers Producer Organization Federation under Natural Resource Management Program. Next, the activity undertaken by FPO in green economies are organic farming, natural farming, dairy farming with biogas plant, biofertilizer system or rice intensification, renewable energy, that is setting up solar units, solar as third crop, installation of solar pump, zero energy, solar cold storage, micro irrigation under micro irrigation deep sprinkler to improve the irrigation efficiency, implementation of IoT in agriculture, soil testing based fertilizer recommendation, setting up of soil testing laboratory, setting up of village level mini weather station for weather forecasting for climate resilience agriculture, agroforestry based farming for biomass production and carbon capture, agro waste processing and recycling. Next, then financial mechanism. The FPOs and MPG led green initiative under TDA watershed and EPN can be supported under green bond. And I have already put green bond for this project. The carbon credit, government subsidy and CSR program. Even I am the president in the equity director of Bandhan Group. So we are giving our CSR fund to Bandhan Kondago for implementation of climate resilience agriculture, and they have now adapted some villages in Basanti and Sundarbans area for plantation of the mangrove plants. Under TDF, the 2.92 crores tree were planted, which have potential for sequestration of 6.31 lakh ton carbon dioxide per year. Some of the completed tribal development project entered the voluntary carbon market for carbon credit. Next, the element of the agriculture value chain, that is the sequence of the economic activities, then value chain actors, and now the institutions supporting the value chain actors are technology transfer institution, development and promotional institution, credit support institution, regulatory institution, infrastructure and support service institution. Next, the support of the CSOs needed for sustainability of FPOs, the assessment of the financial resource needed, assessment of infrastructure and support service required, assessment of economic rate, networking and business relationship mechanism, assessment of market dynamic or market intelligence in correlation with the business activity, assessment of the extent of the operation and marketing risk involved in the particular business activity, then onboarding of the FPO on digital marketing channel, the ONDC, ENAM, and then promotion of the federation of the FPO for sustainability of the FPOs. Next, now ecosystem for sustainable FPOs here under HRD, Human Resource Development Training Capacity Building. Here the CSO's big role is there. One more sir. Then credit guarantee and equity. That is these are the issues that are involved. That is the Tampkisan Bank, NBSC, the SFSC, Tata Trust, Rabo Bank, and NABARD. Now technical services input, business planning, technical advisory, agri services, warehouse receipt. So these are the services required. Then under retailing, the direct marketing, FPOs via rural retail points. Then state and central government scheme for infrastructure. Then government policy for licensing, compliances, and food processing procurement and trading through NCDX on spot market for marketing. So this is the business ecosystem for FPOs. Next, that is the FPO, the pathway to link the farmers to the value chain is the collective farming. The second is the value addition through sorting, grading, processing, and value addition. Then transport technology for enhanced production, and that is storing of the produce to eliminate distress sale. Then for ensuring time and adequate credit through banking at doorstep, then branding of the product for credibility and recognition, then holding of the board meeting timely for the benefit of the farmers. Farmers make the business sense for the FPO make business sense for the farmers. Next, last. That is the Dr. APJ Kanu says, do not read success stories, you will only get the masses. Read failure stories, you will get some ideas to get success. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mondal, for your nice presentation, and I believe you have given and we'll take a question answer at the last. So now I would like to invite Mr. Saket Mana for his presentation. And as I mentioned already, with the news, CRP is doing a important project in the Sundarban. He is a key person. That is why he is all kind of facts about the project, and I'll request him to.
I think the context is set very much as project of NABARD. NABARD is the agency who is the CBOs, and then CSOs like ours or NGOs working in the sector. So, please next slide. Gone through these slides, so I will just say that there are FPG and FPO and FPC, three terminologies are available in the sector. The FPGs are the producer group which are operational in the village level, the lowest grassroots level of the ecosystem. One FPG is made from 10 to 12 member in the village, and then the consortium of FPG comes under FPO, so I said the PO, and the registered POs are called farmer producer companies, which has been came under the Companies Act from 2002, is a special amendment. Company, and basically tax benefit. So that's the APC. And why APC? Parts I am not repeating the same, but here FPC and FPO and FPG, these can play a ecological transition role, promoting natural farming, sustainable fishing, low impact practices, and climate smart value chain. Next. So there is a slide on India's FPO landscape. So currently, as per March 2024, we have 33,000 FPOs, active FPOs in India, and in 2020, government released a 10,000 FPO scheme which will run till 2027, and the budget is around 6,865 crores for development of 10,000 FPOs, and from that 10,000, Indian government have already able to develop 8,000 FPOs. So basically, SFSC and NABARD is the implementing agency. Then comes the cluster-based operational organizations, CBBOs, who are the capacity building institute, supporting institute for the APCs, and then come banks and credit guarantee fund equity grants available for the FPOs. And if you can see, there are 10 states the highest with highest FPOs. Maharashtra have around 11,000 FPOs, and West Bengal comes around in 9th. We have around 1,900 to 1,200 something FPOs. Next slide. So already sir have covered the challenges. I will focus on the percentage, the numbers, the data available on that. Basically, the capital concept, 58% FPOs are having more than 50% FPOs are having working capital constant, and with governance, so only 21% FPOs conducted regular board meetings, record keeping, and basically the accounting part. The accounting part is very much difficult for the farmers, as farmers are well known for their harvest, their process, but they are not able to do the bookkeeping part or governance part. Then the infrastructural gap, less than 30% FPOs have access to basic infrastructure. The limited market linkage, over 60% of FPOs have reported that they are selling the products to local vendors, the aggregators. Only 8% have the access to B2B. And then low integration of climate smart and nature-based approaches, as we are focusing on the investing in nature part. So I have included these 2 points. So only 10% of FPOs have adopted climate smart practices. And lastly, the women leadership. So only 5% have BOD, 5% of BOD member within the FPOs, and 19% are the shareholder. So this is a data from state of Pharma Producer Organization conducted by Azim Premji University in 2024. They have conducted a survey of 606 FPOs across 18 states. So next. So there comes, as I am representing News today. So what we are doing, and News is the NGO. We are not meant to develop FPOs. We are here for the ecological fragile regions. We are working for the conservation of nature livelihood. So we started on that in Sundarban region. We started to basic idea was to conserve the mangrove forest. We started with the community people and the plantation work in 2009. The community people was involved in the seed collection, nursery rearing, this part. And in order to do so, we have developed several groups within Sundarban region. We have been working in 65 GPs in 2 districts of South Chennai and North Chennai in West Bengal. So we have 65 groups, and that groups started acting as the producer group. As in order to strengthen the group structure and to support them in their livelihood, we have incorporated the income generation activities within the mangrove plantation project and program, and from there the initiative started. Next. So basically the initial activity was group to the mangrove plantation, the nursery rearing. Then they started the monitoring, the patrolling, and there is the real image of the women group. They are currently having green sarees as their signature. Like they are focusing on monitoring of mangroves, and they act as the custodian of local ecosystem. So basically, they taken up this green saree as a signature of their role, and then we form these as a BFIGs. We call them BFIG is the under the structure of Pharma Producer Company. We call them BFIG. Why BFIG? B for Badabon. Badabon means a mangrove. So we are working in the mangrove region, so we call them Badabon Farmer Interest Group. Next slide. So with this group, we have incorporated the sustainable livelihood practices, the PIPF, backyard poultry farming, different other honey collection thing. But what we have failed that they are struggling in the market access. They are not getting credit, packaging thing, and storage. So we have decided in 2018 that we will develop a Pharma Producer Company in order to avail these facilities for these groups. And in 2018 we have patronized them to form a Pharma Producer Company called Badabon Pharma Producer Company. So currently they have 60 plus BFIGs and 1000 plus for producers, including 40% of women shareholder within the producer company. Next. So basically they currently work on the mangrove honey, indigenous rice varieties, turmeric, local fish, value-added product, while retaining community ownership and profit sharing. And it embodies the News vision of economic empowerment through ecological integrity. Currently they are operating in Kolkata. They are having 2 stalls. From the stalls they are operating a doorstep delivery system. They are having B2B connection with many of the well-known government enterprise, like they are supplying the turmeric powder to the Vishwamangala, Govindavok rice to Vishwamangala, and they are selling their product to Delhi also. And we are also working on the better packaging, market linkage, and traceability part also. And this reflects the principle of climate resilience, social equity, and biodiversity conservation. Next. And what we have learned from this exercise, and these are early impact. We consider this as a program. As in news, we not only think about the overall conservation, we include, we call this nature and human. So, so basically, the effect in their livelihood 10 to 30% increase have been across all value chains, and women participation, 40% of our shareholder are women, 45% BOD are women, and market linkage insurance sale is there, keyword based platform we are developing. We have an e-commerce platform. We have enabled our product over Amazon and Flipkart, and localized infrastructure. We have tried to develop local level small producer groups, like they are producing turmeric powder, pickle, papad, pulse dumpling, this kind of things, and handicraft product within their villages. And circular benefit by through the profits of these organization, they have been able to develop seed banks in their villages, able to develop laboratories in their villages, and they are also providing trainings to other farmers. As they have started from 300, now they are 1,000 farmers, and basically they are doing the capacity building of own, and we are supporting them time to time. And ecosystem language integration part, the producer basically are aware of their biodiversity value. They are valuing their biodiversity. They are mangrove, basically they have started from mangrove plantation. So that's why they value their local biodiversity, the local ecosystem. And next. So basically, how we can replicate this? What is the need for this kind of FPO? Basically, Balabur Farmer Co-Producer Company is different from other FPOs. They are not looking for the volume. They are actually looking for the value for their product. So for this context, we need local ecosystem level or micro level plans, like mangrove. For mangrove a different plan, for hill region or different plan, even for village level or GP level we need different plans, business plans. And localized infrastructure development, they need local level infrastructure. Big infrastructure is not needed for the farmers, basically for this terrain. They need local infrastructures and shared infrastructure maybe, and strengthening of FPGs as a foundation. Basically, we focus on the FPG level, the village level. For producer level, producer company is a bigger thing, and there, if you form a company under company, there are compliances you have to fill. You have to fill GST per month. Farmers are not aware how to fill GSTs. So basically, we need to strengthen the village level group, that is the producer group, and then the market linkage beyond procurement. We need, there are many different government schemes available. Every year, when government release the tender for paddy procurement, and all farmer producer companies are active farmer producer companies are trying to involve in the process. But basically, we need better B2B opportunities. Like in Vishwabanga, they are valuing the product. They are purchasing the product in a premium price. So basically, these kind of thing, CSR opportunities and conscious consumers who are looking for the product which is chemical free, which are sustainably sourced. So these products are required, and then comes the role of CSOs like ours. That's we have to think like a program, not a project. We have to think like it is a program. We are trying to develop a sustainable coastal community in Sundarban. So we have to write different projects throughout the program in order to reach our goal. So that kind of mindset should be there, and then if this kind of FPM models should be replicated, and then there are biodiversity stewardship, XD localization, many opportunities are there to frame this within the policies. And next. So basically, this is the last slide. So news is always inviting collaborations. We want to scale the nature-based FPO models, and then research and documentation on partnership, market access and finance tie-ups, and ecosystem link certification and policy governance. So we are welcoming any kind of collaboration on this. And next. So lastly, I want to say that FPO FPO and FPGs are the green backbone of Indian rural economy. When producers are land use
and we'll take that session and questions later on. Now time is coming for the one more panel member, Mr. Vivekananda. I would like to invite Mr. Vivekananda to elaborate on the, which is like the financial mechanism. For example, like green bonds, subsidies, carbon credit can support FPO and FPG's led green initiative. So, Mr. Vivekananda, short time, thanks.
Good evening to one and all. My name is Vivekananda. I represent Samunati. I lead the ESG and Sustainable Finance function within Samunati. At the outset, thanks for inviting Samunati. Thanks to News and CRB for inviting us to take part in this prestigious event. So, I'm sure people in the FPO sector will know what Samunati does, but for the interest of others, Samunati is an agri value chain player. We do multiple activities in the agri value chain. Financing is our mainstay. We have an NBFC, RBI regulated NBFC. Apart from financing, we also do market linkage and trade facilitation. Samunati is a 10-year-old organization. Our book size is about 1,500 crores. We work with two customer segments. One is agri MSMEs, agri value chain players, traders, processors, emerging corporates. We also work with FPOs. In fact, we are the market leaders in FPO financing. Just to give you a snapshot, what Samunati has done in the green and the climate space, about 18 to 20% of our portfolio is climate aligned, green aligned. This translates to about 300 crores. And we have subscribed to 2 tranches of green bond through Symbiotics. And we are also proud to say this, that we issued India's first green bond in from the agriculture sector. This was issued in December 2024 for 50 crores. And we are also undertaking projects on the carbon side. Through our Agri Center of Excellence, we have generated carbon credits out of artisanal biochar. And we are now trying other methodologies based on rice-based methane reduction, agroforestry, and we are exploring these spaces. So the question, coming back to the question, I think we can talk from our first-hand experience, and we also wanted to break some myth around some of these concepts. So when it comes to financing, green bond is being positioned as a discounted rate or a concessional finance, but that is not the case. Greenium or the green discount is not there in the market. It is at commercial rates. The difference is there are investors who wanted to put their money on certain themes, certain end users. That's where the green bond comes in. Green bond helps them to channelize their fund towards certain end users. What are those end users? These are called taxonomy. You have been hearing in the news, climate taxonomy, green taxonomy. This is the taxonomy which dictates which are the end users that will qualify for climate positive green. So first myth to be broken, green bond is not a discounted rate. It is not available at a discounted rate. You can look at the markets. When we issued, our issuance rate was at 11.5%. It is at par with the commercial rate. For a BBB rated company, we get regular financing at 11.5. This is also at 11.5. The landing cost is at 13.5%. Recently, Mumbai Municipal Corporation came up with a green bond issued a couple of days back. It was subscribed at 7.5% roughly, and it is at par with commercial rates. There is no green discount as of now in the market. Second, given that case, how do we channelize the supply, green capital to finance FPOs? I think blended finance is the only solution as of now available. To speak from our experience, we are a financing partner for Magnet project. Magnet project is being implemented by Maharashtra Horticulture Department, funded by ADB. There, they have given us a concessional capital through which we are able to channel a concessional capital at 8-9% to the FPOs. 8-9% to the FPOs as on date for Maharashtra FPOs is not something which is available in the market. So blended finance seems to be a solution, but we need somebody to put their money. I think CSR, multilateral DFIs, these are the agencies who can, instead of giving a grant, they can give us a returnable grant, as simple as that. So that's the first thing that we want to state on financing FPOs from a green perspective. Carbon projects, our founder used to say carbon projects is like, carbon credit is like God. Everybody talks about it, everybody takes their name often, but the farmer is yet to realize the carbon credit. If you look at it, that is a scenario. I mean, very few methodologies are acceptable for generation of carbon credit, and these methodologies require robust monitoring, robust verification. More than implementation, it requires a lot of evidence creation to justify that so much tons of carbon has been generated. So the point that I'm trying to say is the robustness of these carbon projects are so stringent that it's very difficult for many of the farmers to take part. Having said that, there are carbon project developers who have registered projects around agroforestry, rice-based methane reduction projects. We are working with them, and one of the questioning is, can carbon financing be a game changer for a farmer? From our first-hand experience, a farmer will get 2,000 rupees per hectare for a rice-based methane reduction project per year. 2,000 to 3,000 rupees per hectare, right? And this is not a significant amount. 2,000, 3,000 rupees doing what? DSR. Instead of having a puddle cultivation, they have to do DSR, and apart from DSR, there is a AWD. So these are all some of the behavioral changes that are also required. So it's not easy per se, but it is not impossible. FPOs can do this. FPOs can work with the carbon project developers and implement these projects. If you look at the carbon project value chain, there is project developer. These are a small team, but they require someone closer to the field to implement these projects. As on date, in the market, if you look at, there are already FPOs implementing carbon projects. So for an FPO, there is definitely a play. They can implement carbon projects and earn some revenue. FPOs are already looking out for activities, business revenue streams to generate revenue. By being a project implementer, by partnering with the carbon project developer, they can generate revenues for their income. At a farmer level, it's a different story. I want to share some experiences from this. There are some project developers who give upfront money to the farmer to participate in the program. These are well-funded carbon project developers. They give upfront money to the season. This is a short-term, like for rice-based methane reduction, you don't have to wait for 3 years. Agroforestry, you have to wait for 3 years to generate the first set of carbon credits. Whereas for rice-based methane reduction, only 3 seasons are enough. You can generate a carbon credit. So that gives some kind of a confidence to the farmer. So from our experience, artisanal biochar converting crop residue burning into a product which can enhance the soil structure. It enhances the soil moisture retention, nutrient retention capability. It's a good climate action and a climate positive product. And this activity can be implemented at a FPO level and they can generate revenue. This is one thing on the carbon project. And where do we see elsewhere? We also see that compressed biogas that is being promoted in a large way. UP has sanctioned a lot of projects. Madhya Pradesh has sanctioned a lot of projects. Corporates are already into the game. They have set up the compressed biogas plants, and the raw material is crop residue. In UP, it is largely the paddy straws that is being converted. Many of the FPOs are actually doing this operation of supplying these paddy straw residues to the corporates like Reliance, IOCL, who have set up CBG plants. So this is one green activity which will qualify for climate positive action. So that is picking up in a big way. So to summarize, from a supply side, if you look at, there are some capital available, but they are not available at a discount. That is what has been our experience so far. But if there is a climate action, there are investors who are willing to invest on those activities, but not at a discount. We are a commercial player. We are interested in putting the money. We want a return, but we also wanted to put our money only in certain green and climate positive action. That's the first aspect. From the demand side, there are a few activities which are mature enough that can be taken by FPOs to generate revenues. Like I said, in carbon projects, they can they can play a role of a carbon project implementer. In compressed biogas, CBG, they are already supplying, they are doing the operation of cutting, threshing, bundling it, and then supplying it to banks, biomass banks. So these are some of the emerging opportunities, and one wish list that we would like to put forward to the CSRs and donor agency, philanthropic agencies is, if you have a program and you want to promote FPO in a sustainable way, we can look at working up blended finance structures. Instead of giving grant, let's put that pressure of setting up a bankable model. This will demonstrate some viable activities, bankable activities for others to follow. So the wish list that I want to communicate is to the philanthropy sector, can we structure some blended finance structures, meaning interest subsidies? It could be capital grant. As of now, there is no evidence to the bankers to come forward and say, yes, this is a bankable activity that I am willing to put money on. So can we create that evidence? Can philanthropic sector and innovators or early stage companies like Samanati and other NBFCs can work together and stitch together these blended finance structures and prove to the banking world that such an activity is actually bankable. So that with that I would like to conclude my session. Thanks.
You have given a lot of insight and we'll discuss later. Now I would like to invite Dr. Jayati. So Dr. Jayati is going to focus on does eco-labeling and biodiversity label protect health? How policies are aligned for this? Time is yours.
Thank you, sir, for providing me with this opportunity to participate in this important discussion. I'm Jayati and I work with organization called Saki Waters, the South Asia Consortium for Interdisciplinary Water Resources Studies. Established in 2002, Saki Waters works towards fostering water secure and climate resilient ecosystems and communities across South Asia through interdisciplinary action research, capacity building, grassroots implementation, and also by supporting network of collective and collaborative action and policy advocacy. Today's question, which you asked me, that does eco labeling or biodiversity labeling help? So I would say that certainly ecosystem, eco and biodiversity labels do help, but we need to understand that they cannot help by themselves. Their impact is conditional on enabling ecosystems which we could provide to FPOs and FPCs, which are just trying to find their peak. So some of the positive outcome which I would quickly like to highlight is market differentiation. So eco and biodiversity labeling help nature positive products command better prices, so they get better margins in the market. For example, product certified under Participatory Guarantee System PGS India or Organic India branding fetch a premium. And then second comes consumer trust. So eco labels signals sustainable practices, especially soil health, chemical free production, biodiversity friendly methods. So this is critical for especially consumers in urban markets, which are now increasingly becoming environmental conscious. And then it also enhances export opportunities. For example, labels like Rainforest Alliance, Fair Trade, and GI tags like Arakku coffee, and then you have Kandamal turmeric. So these labels have helped Indian FPOs tap into niche global such similar collectives, especially in biodiversity-rich areas and economically poor areas, they lack capacity, literacy, and also access to enter these ecosystems. Certification costs are often unaffordable for these small holders unless they are subsidized. So here I would like to highlight that while they can help FPOs distinguish in crowded markets, earn better margins, and even access new customer or consumer base, especially in urban and export markets. In Indian context, effectiveness of eco or biodiversity product remain quite niche. One of the reason is we see some, for example, we see some transaction in urban sectors such as for such products. But we see that consumer understanding of more complex labels such as those reflecting especially biodiversity co-benefit is still low. Because you see that while people may recognize these labels, but very few are willing to pay significant premium for them. For example, we see that it's very easy to convince someone about health benefits, that you buy this organic products, you will have these health co-benefits. But it's very difficult to find buyers when it comes to biodiversity conservation. It's difficult to convince people that why they should invest more or end up paying more for conserving biodiversity in some random or remote areas. So here I would like to highlight that this kind of scenario actually creates a dilemma. On the one hand, certification and labeling comes with a cost. For example, we have multiple schemes such as GI tagging, TGS for organics, and various third-party investments, third-party schemes, private eco-labels. But all this comes with a cost. These are investment in terms of technical, administrative, or financial inputs. So for smallholder-led FPOs or other similar collective, it becomes prohibitive. So unless they find some external support, maybe through CSR or NGO partnership or through a government scheme, without these kind of supports, they find it simply difficult to enter and sustain in this kind of competitive environment where you have large corporates also coming up with their products having eco or biodiversity labels. Another challenge is like a scattered policy scenario where you have so where, for example, you have different kind of policies. You have India Biodiversity Action Plan, you have agroecology framework, and scheme like Paramparagat Krishi Vikas Yojana. So they do recognize the value of biodiversity friendly farming, but they don't strongly link these initiatives with markets. So there is no proper support for smallholder farmers who form especially FPOs or FPGs. Then again, there's an absence of unified standard framework. For example, there is no proper mechanism for white harvested products. We do have something for organic farm products, but then there is no such mechanism for wild harvest or ecosystem linked products. So we definitely need such mechanisms or tools. And then let's also understand that what kind of policy shift we need? So first of all, when we talk about eco-labeling or biodiversity labeling, we need to first understand that these are not just market tools. We shouldn't use them as finance or marketing tool, but we need to understand that these are developmental tools. It should be treated as part of our broader strategy for rural livelihoods, biodiversity conservation, and green value chain development. That means that we need to create a national level biodiversity labeling framework that is tailored to needs small producers and backed by state and central governments. The second point which I would like to emphasize is that the ecosystem around eco-labeling must include capacity building, financial support for certification, and public awareness campaign. As I mentioned earlier, that without this kind of support, smallholder farmer producers organization cannot compete with larger corporates in the market. So one thing we need to understand that this is not just about product labeling, but it is also about producer readiness and consumer literacy. So if we want labels to matter, both ends of the chain needs to be strengthened. We also, on one hand, we need to strengthen FPOs, and at the same time, we need to create more awareness among consumers. And third is we need to integrate eco-label products into public procurement system because it's very important from a sustainability point of view. So if, for example, biodiversity-friendly products are prioritized in government food programs, for example, we have all the schools have this, government schools have midday meal, then they are ICDS schemes. So through this, we can create consistent demand and reduce the reliance on fickle premium market. That's also where policy can incentivize scale by creating demand pull from within the system without depending on ever-changing markets, which is mostly urban and export-based. Then finally, I would like to emphasize that the importance of building trust, whether through participatory certification or involvement of local biodiversity management committees or digital traceability tools. We need mechanisms that are inclusive, transparent, and accountable. Only then can eco-labeling evolve from niche concept into mainstream driver of green economy. So in conclusion, I would like to say that yes, eco-labeling and biodiversity labeling do help, provided we have strong policy alignment, consumer education, and institutional safeguards. Their benefits will definitely help FPOs and FPGs. Otherwise, in some cases, they can also be counterproductive because we notice a lot of unethical practices in the sector in the name of because there are no proper regulatory mechanisms. So we see that in the name of eco labels, people are selling substandard products. So with this, I'll just conclude by saying that our challenge is not just to introduce these sustainable labeling, but to ensure that they genuinely reflect ecological value, empower producers, and inspire confidence among consumers. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jayati, for your remarks. And today is our last speaker, Mr. Alok Kumar Jaina. He's from Pradhan. And I'll request him to elaborate what policy changes are needed to help FPOs participate in the green economy.
However, Pradhan initiated FPOs kind of thing through its broiler poultry sector. Nowadays, that is independent FPOs and it's kind of a federated at different states. From there, we customize how the smaller marginal farmer, especially on the agriculture sector, can be thought of. So the journey starts with the Jharkhand government, Didan Jharkhand government in 2003. So it's a 20 years of post experience. Based on that experience, I am trying to bring some of the points here. First of all, in this room, the topic we are discussing, I guess there is no farmer in this room. So for whom we are discussing. So maybe their lived in experience and challenges and their thoughts may be helpful. So as a facilitator, we can distill those also. So that is first. Second, the topic investing in nature. I could say investing in people and people's institution to invest in nature, because the spearheader and stakeholder is the people and people's institution, especially for the small and marginal farmer who requires the collectivization or collectives, whatever form, either SHG or farmers producers group. Fourth is the policy changes. If you see nowadays, there are, as I told, NABARD also supported lots in our Tosar MPCs and then Tosar Development Foundation kind of things. From there also we experience, and like 10,000 FPOs. This is 10K FPOs. The standard policy across country, there is gaps, I assume. There is little space in flexibility. Like 300 to 500 farmer of Haryana or of Bihar or of Chhattisgarh, or somebody mentioned in previous discussion, or Gadchirali, Bastar, is different. However, the norms is standard, uniform for all. Why I am telling? Our experience is it requires small and marginal farmer first to build them as a journey from subsistence farmer to a producer first. A farmer है, producer नहीं है. This is our experience in small and marginal farmers area. And that requires 2-3 success, consecutive success in our experience in production system. Then she could be calling that I am a producer. Then FPOs come when she will transfer or translate to a effective producer. ये हम भूल जाते हैं. Effective producers means surplus generate करें. So they requires to generate surplus, which also requires 2-3 years of engagement or 2-3 years of successes in the farmer's life. Then the confidence or need of FPOs will be gone. However, our FPO is 300 or 10,000 FPOs, it's a 3-year term. So, first year it's required to understand I need the collective. Second, third year it requires I have to engage myself into my production system. And another 2-3 years it requires to be an effective producer. And then come for value addition, value chain, all these things. When the surplus will be generated, how the diversified produce will be there, how regional economy, how local area, many people nowadays talking about circular economy, somebody told regional economy, some told local area, whatever is there. but that need to be understood by the farmer. So that journey requires, as we experience, so it requires 7, 8, 10 years to be a profitable farmer entity. Our policy is for 3 years. Who will invest? Who will be the facilitator? You will get the poor facilitator. So the policy thoughts is a marginal farmer will be or should be served marginally. ये mind shift change करना है. Poor farmer or marginal farmer should be served richly. That is our experience. The hidden cost of FPOs, as I think Soigot shared, did he consider his cost into that? In the FPO's cost, FPO's running cost, if you calculate that, it will be very high. So policy or program, I am not telling you policy is not required, but program should be think in that line, details roadmap, and then milestones year after year, what will be the changes that requires. Second, connecting to nature, and farmer is close to nature. There are PRI or people resource institutions. How many places we experience these 3 are working together? People's institution run by different department, resource management run by different department, either forest or agriculture department or the land revenue department, or institution, the PRI Panchayat institution or the other land department, their MSME works differently. Where is the collaboration around this? So this is one. Fourth, fifth is the scale of operation of an FPO. छोटा सा FPOs run करने के लिए, as we experience, especially farmers, small and marginal farmer, it requires plus 10 crores business. अच्छा 300 farmers, अब total से assess करेंगे, हमारा भी हम देखते हैं, out of 84, only 11 FPOs crossed the 6 crores business in the last 3 years. The rest are below that because there are the challenges. And that is subsidized by the philanthropic or CSR fund or the government programs. If we consider subsidies, it will be very less. So, that kind of pathways required in the program. So, I am not talking about policy framing, but how to execute. Implementation framework is required as we experience. And last, I will connect in the policy. Based on our experience, every department started FPO promotion. Why? Who is nodal? अब एग्रीकल्चर डिपार्टमेंट हमको भी 200 बनाना है. अब SRL उनका भी फेडरेशन है and they are also thinking हमको भी FPO बनाना है, NGO को भी FPO बनाना है. Sir, I am not kidding. This is the scenarios. And there is no nodal, and the even facilitative institute, they are moving around there. Where is their base? They are not also getting FPO's engagement. They are moving, shifting somewhere else. So there it requires also who is the key nodal for FPO's strengthening, FPO's status, FPO's program, and even the program convergence. That unit need to be act upon pooling the resources from the multiple departments who are available to convert. Otherwise, leaving the FPOs and go to converge and leverage, or CSOs go to converge, leverage apart from the agriculture, apart from the marketing, apart from the Vishwa Bangla, it should not be sustained. That is my limited experience. I will stop here, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Jana, for your insight regarding to the policy intervention, and it is whatever is required based on their experience. Now, I think let's go for the question answer session. We have 20 minutes and all ST members are sitting in front of you. So I'll request you may kindly raise the hand and please you can mention your name also while raising the question. And to whom you want to ask, you can simultaneously take the name also.
Hello, myself Shomnath Bosha from Reliance Retail. So my question is to Dr. Jayati. Two questions, ma'am. First is regarding eco-labeling. Is there any government incentive is being offered to organization if the product is being eco-labeled? Is there any scheme of any such kind of incentive for business? Second is, as I belong to retail, so we also sell grocery product, also food products. So food products labeling are being controlled by FSSAI. So is there any such kind of guideline also like FSSAI which actually controls the eco-labeling?
Yeah, so when it like I'm first asking to your second question, like how like you have a FSSAI. So similarly, there are like some organic certification schemes. For example, you have this PGS or Organic India. So these are available. So that's what I was mentioning, that nothing like this is available for wild harvested products. So still it's in its nascent stage where like you have similar kind of, for example, you have organic honey. But then if it is wild honey, so how you certify it? So there is no formal mechanism available. So that's why we need this unified standard framework, which is available in case of EU and other international market. But India it's not available. It's only for organic product. And then second incentive, yeah, there are like some incentives available when it comes to organic farming. You have subsidies and all. But there is no further support to link into the markets. That's one challenge for FPO, because what I discussed was from FPO and FPG's point of view. So in that context, they don't extend any support, because it mentioned that because we also have this National Biodiversity Action Plan, then you have this Paragat Krishi Yojana, then agro ecology framework. But then they do talk about, they realize, acknowledge the value, but then they don't support, like extend the support to like develop this green value chain. So that's where we need some kind of policy shift and more support for
Yeah.
Yeah, my name is Kaushik, so I'm representing Preferred by Nature. So my question is to Mr. Jana. It's a very insightful one, no doubt about it. But my question basically is, have you thought about any roadmaps or any policy intervention in terms of, making the FPOs effective, what you call the effective FPOs? Because that's a very important thing. So just would like to know any roadmap for that matter or any policy intervention. Thank you.
Frankly speaking, for poultry sector we have, for forestry kind of thing, we call the NTP under, that is coastal sector, we did. And why I am telling we did, because when we realize they are self-business driven, then we called it in our language, we got our umbilical from Pradhan. So there is no Pradhan engagement, and whoever will be there, they have to be also resigned from Pradhan and join in that. So that is the creating the identity of an FPO, they will be independent. So that is In case of agriculture produce, especially rice, we can say we attempt at certain level, I can say 70% level, still there are the investment is going on. Like say Amon Federation of Nagra, who is dealing with organic based or regenerative agriculture based indigenous rice focus production is there. So that we can say the pathway we developed how to actually change. So FPO as told cycle PG, so PG in a FP production cluster mode comes in a FPO, and after 5-7 years of journey they build as a nodal FPO. Why I am telling nodal FPO? This is another challenge in our context. It is applicable for CSOs, it is applicable for department, it is applicable for any other entity. How many of we learn or know there is a tripartite between government departments, CSOs and investor? How many we are? And all we are talking about FPO question and karna hai, but there is very few tripartite. I am not talking about scheme sanction. I am talking about memorandum of understanding. MOU. 7 साल का 4 साल का MOU कितना है? There is very less. Even also government even philanthropy is also scared से government के साथ हम MOU नहीं क्यों करें? Because there are the risks. हमारा deliverables नहीं attend हो. So that we explain. So in case of FPOs, in case of agriculture, I can say there is a roadmap. At least they can run their business in absence of pradhan. Not exponential growth, but they can sustain. However, in case of Tasar, we can say they can grow. So that way, I could tell now. And in livestock, we have already started, but still there is huge challenge because, as you know, we called a successful FPOs. There are many stakeholders. A failure FPOs, no stakeholders. Even also its member. So we have to start from there, and that is the first part of the roadmap. So, yeah.
So one thing I wanted to add, like government has come up with green credit programs, and still we are still working on proper methodology and the mechanism to implement.
Okay, so I think the last question, you have raised the hand.
Yes, my name is Adarsh Mandas. I work for Preferred Managed as well. We are one of the largest certifiers for equal use globally. So you were taking the topic of equal use. So what is the biggest bottleneck? Is it finding, because if you want to go for an equal label, number one, you need to have buyers. You need to have buyers for the product, right? Otherwise, it becomes an exercise. So what is a major challenge? Not finding buyers, and then to go for equal labels, you need to make changes in the practice that you normally do, which also costs money. So what are your major bottleneck, and what do you think can be done in that regard to help FPOs?
Basically, from our project, News is working with this group of farmers from, you can say, from last 10 years or so on. So we have attempted for eco labeling, that what man said, the PGS certification for our honey. So basically, the primary, as per the government policy, PGS certificate should be free for the farmers. Actually, in the process, it is for the marginal farmers, and it is mentioned that it will be free of cost for the farmers. But basically, farmers are not, and there is an online portal to document the data in order to get the certification. But the problem is that the farmer is not able to fill up the data in the portal. So there are some authorized agencies, they will do the work on behalf of them. So basically, these authorized agencies are authorized by government, and they are getting money from the government. How much they are enrolled in the portal, they will get money from the government. But basically, in the actual scenario, they are also collecting money from farmers in order to get enter the data in the portal. So that is the major problem we are facing, and the farmers are facing, and that is the low cost example of the eco-labeling certification available in India. Then there are Rapida, that is a huge cost. They will charge the cost of each testing and all this kind of thing. So that is the major bottleneck we face in our case.
And also, I want to bring in another angle to it, because when you have this eco label or biodiversity label or any kind of sustainability label, it actually increases the cost of the product, and then it becomes even more distant for any poor, because here also it's a question of environmental justice, because when you are through this kind of approach, actually you are making healthy product or sustainable product only available or affordable for elite classes. What about your ordinary people? So that's why I share that why not include these kind of product, like why not procure these kind of products for your large scale government scheme like midday meal and all. Otherwise it becomes only for people who can afford it, and then people who are not responsible for environmental pollution also actually end up paying cost in terms of adverse impact on their health.
Yeah, one more question. Yeah, Mr. Vijay.
Now to show, and Srimo in the earlier session highlighted that there is data now to actually share percentage of Indian consumers. Some surveys have also been done to compute, including some survey that we've done, that consumers are willing to pay 9 to 12% if there is a assurance that a
For example,
Yeah, you want to contribute something?
Yes, I just ma'am, if you look at the mass market for sustainability, right now it's not too many producers who are producing as well. So that makes them get a put a price on it. But when it becomes mass, it will be cheap. And in the panel before, we were also discussing that to be sustainable, it only costs 0.00 some rupees. It's not that costly when it comes in the market. Yeah.
Okay.
scaling is the answer.
Okay, so we'll continue even later on also. I mean, you must have some questions in your mind, so I think we can continue after that. We have some time limit, so let's conclude. So what is the takeaway today's? Let me, Mr. Subrato Model has his presentation and elaborated detail about the FPO, FPCs like formation, rationale, sustainability, aggregation. He's also talked about the issues taken by the FPOs, problems and solutions also. Also given insight with various opportunity with CSR portfolio. Then Mr. Saiket from News is given very real field-based experience sharing of the FPOs, working with the challenges, sustainability, funding and growth. Is also mentioned how News is working. It's a very unique model. It's not only the commercial angle and the end-to-end solution, like from the biodiversity and the conservation and all kind of issues. I think it's a single model in India. I believe what I have seen and what he has presented. So the partnership, climate smart and women leadership, women empowerment, all kind of issues he has taken over on this presentation. And then we have invited Mr. Vivekanandan, and he's from the Samunati. And he has talked about the agri-value chain, green bonds, like carbon credit. Although it is some subjects are pretty new for the audience, but some of them are well versed. The taxonomy, green bond is not like he has given one insight which is very good. The green bonds are not discounted bond, and it is at par with the other kind of bonds. And he's given some example for the robust monitoring. Carbon projects are required. It's not so easy, so anyone can jump in. People are looking. It's very lucrative, but it's not that easy. So he has also warned about this and some more. I'll give you one more example regarding to this, like the compressed biogas. I met one gentleman who's working as a director in Maruti Suzuki, and we were raising one investment seminar in Rajasthan. So he was the panel member for the discussion, and very precisely I came to know that the compressed biogas, Maruti Suzuki is working in India. He is a Japan civil service servant, and he has taken his VRS and working in India, in association of NDDB for this this compressed gas. And lot of Gaushalas has associated, especially farmer FPOs also with the maybe 500 cows and 100 cows or something like that, and is spending lot of time with them. So such kind of experience are it is eye opening, and I feel hope is already available. And biochar, compressed biogas, and blended finance. These are eye-opening, information which has been given by our speakers. Then we have invited Dr. Jayati, and she has talked about the eco-labeling, biodiversity, PG in India, organic, consumer trust, soil health, many more opportunities, GI tagging. Yes, GI tagging is one more opportunity, and without proper labeling, I think you cannot extract the advantage and profit of the GI tagging. I remember in 2008, I have given the country paper in Tokyo that was on the GI tagging of agriculture produce, and which was, the topic was basically how to improve exportability and marketability. It's not the fashion only, it's the impact assessment. And very precisely, I'll say, in 2008, India was number one among 29 countries, and Thailand was number two, and Japan was number three. But how far we have reached there? Almost 20 years has gone, and I don't think our farmers are getting benefit of this GI tag, including label. So, still, Dr. Jayati is feeling that biodiversification is very difficult, and addressed about the missing link of the market, which is national movement and ecosystem required. Consumer literacy also matters. Eco-label may be useful for procurement, and the debate is ongoing, and I feel it's a very good, healthy debate, and the audience has also raised questions, and those are worth to address, then we have invited Mr. Jaina, and he has also given a lot of points, good points, and those points are mind-boggling, if you say, regarding to this policy-related issues. And the field level experience, he has told like out of 80, I believe, 80 FPOs, yeah, 85 FPOs, only 10 or 11, yeah. So it's really, it's like presenting the truth in front of the audience, and we need to see, what kind of lapses or the shortcoming or the problems exist. So we have to address, and policy is like, he has told one more thing which is very, very important, like 3-year MOU, which is, we people are thinking like we have, make them very, very strong to fight in the market and to act as a end-to-end solution provider in comparison of the existing entrepreneurs, which is very, very difficult. And his suggestion is like for the 7-year or 10-year or maybe more than that, handholding is required. So with these, takeaway and key points, I would like to thank all the panel members for their presence and their presentation and their discussion, and after that, question answer. I also thank to the audience. They have also very actively participated, and they have raised very, field-based, experience-based questions. It's not theoretical, but the kind of, the problems they have faced in the field, and they have seen some problems. And I believe the program was, this session was very, very fruitful for the both audience as well as the panelists. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Dr. Mittal, for summing up the interesting session on FPOs, FPTs, the green economy. I would like to thank the panelists for their engaging discussions and audience for being active participants. So to conclude the session, we would like to facilitate our beloved panelists and felicitate our panelists, and for that, we'd like to invite Subhashish Pash, recording member of News, to do the honors. So we will start with Shubhrato Mondal sir. So please come and tell us. Sorry for the Alok Kumar Jana.
Uncle. Rajipal.
Cycle Mana.
Rajipal. What's up, man?
Vivekanandan Tirungar sir. We would like to request the dignitaries and get the guests to join us in a group photo session to commemorate the occasion. The panelists, please.
ग्रुप बैलेंस कर रही है. एक्सक्यूज मी सर, बैलेंस कर रही है. अरे ग्रुप बैलेंस कर,
थोड़ा स्ट्रेट हो जाइए. आप लोग थोड़ा सा आगे आइए, थोड़ा सा आगे.
अरे इंग्लिश में बोलो नहीं यार. ठीक है मैम, बी क्लोज.
Bro, closer, closer. Okay. Everybody look here. So look here, smile. Thank you. Done.
Everyone, before leaving, I have an important announcement. There's a key takeaway session at Royal Pavilion 2 happening right now, where we summarize the key takeaway for the session. So I will request everyone